Hey everybody, Krauso here. I'm going to bring you another tips and tricks guide, this time with Hell. She's a very, very good god in Smite. First things first, I like to buy tier 2 Boots of the Magi and mana pots, 3 mana pots. Spend all the gold you have when you start. That way you can keep lane sustain. Anytime you can stay in lane longer, it's going to benefit you. So, abilities. Her one is basically an orb that shoots out, does good damage. In Dark Stance it does AoE damage, hits pretty hard, and in Light Stance it does single target damage and heals you. Her number 2 is a cleanse, in Light Stance actually. It'll remove all debuffs on everyone in the AoE circle and prevent them for another second. In Dark Stance it's basically a slow and a magic resistance debuff. Her number 3 is basically an AoE. In Dark Stance, it's an AoE damaging ability. Hits pretty hard, actually. And in Light Stance, it's an AoE heal. And her ultimate is, of course, switching from Dark to Light Stance. I max out my orb first. It does great damage. And being able to switch stances and use both damage abilities is really good. The next thing I want to talk about is a common bug with Hell. As you can see, I got my stance switch. That's Light Stance and that's Dark Stance. When switching stances, if you have an ability queued right after you switch your stance and want to use that ability but tend to wait, it will cancel the ability. So as you can see here, I'm going to switch stances, queue up my number 1, and then watch what happens. It disappears. I didn't use it, and her animation finished, canceled the ability I had queued up. One way to get around this, however, is switch stances and use your ability extremely fast. And as you can see, it went off, didn't cancel. So that's just, it can be an annoyance at times. It will kind of screw you up. But once you know how to get around it, you can see here, I'll switch stances and use my 1 really quickly. And I pretty much avoided that bug. So that's one way to get around that. A helpful tip here on Hell is her cooldowns are separate for stances. So I use my 1 here, and as you can see, my 1 in Dark Stance is not on cooldown. So that's very good for spamming spells. Basically, when I'm playing on Hell, I'm always casting something in fights. So you can see here, I'd run in, use my 3, switch, use a 1 heal, use an AoE heal, switch, use a 1 in Dark Stance, and I'm constantly doing something. You can switch back, and the cooldowns are almost up in Light Stance. So it's very, very active on Hell. She's almost like she has 6 abilities, basically. So she is a very, very busy champion to play. It takes definitely a few games to get used to it, but once you do, man, you are going to be tearing people up. Alright, as for items, as the game progresses, I tend to get my tier 2 Boots of the Magi, and then I will work on getting my Warlock Sash completed, just because of the stacks, the permanent stacks you gain. It's good to get this item early, so you can get those stacks built up, and they don't, they don't go away on death, so it's very good to get that item early. Next, I usually get the magic penetration if I'm trying to do a little more damage. So the obsidian shard is a really good item. I don't really like Doom Orb. I know a lot of people do, but the stacks fall off on death, and it's kind of hard to keep the stacks moving throughout the game. Personal preference, I usually stay away from that item. Sometimes I'll get the Book of Thoth. It's good for mana regen. It's got great magic power on it. The Rod of Tahuti has some of the most magical power in the game on an item, because it has that nice passive to increase your magical power by 25%, which is, it's good to get after maybe 1 or 2 items and start building that up to start hitting like a truck and healing amazingly. And then I'll usually get some defense. This Hide of Leviathan right here, if I'm taking a lot of damage in fights, because Hell's usually focused down, I'll pick this little piece up. It's got good protections on it, little health, little mana, and yeah, it's a great item. After I finish my Warlock Sash, I will usually get my tier 3 Boots of the Magi to move around a little more. Ability items, the amulet's really nice. The invulnerability, I find that to be great because you can use your heal, AoE heal, pop that, and then your heal will be back up in a few more seconds. So it's great for extending the team fights. Purification beads, always if there's some CC on the other team, like a Wukong, these are great to pick up, mid game, because you can pretty much die on Wukong's ult if you don't have something to get out of it. And that's one thing Hell is lacking is a great gap closer or a way to get out of a fight. She doesn't have anything like that, and those kind of gods are kind of at a disadvantage right now in the game. But you just need to learn to work with it. And yeah, speed buff's nice. Meditation, mana heal, obviously really great. You can pick that one up too. I tend to just get mana pots throughout the game, but that's just a personal preference. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and like, subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I'll be putting out more guides, more content, some full games, playing with my buddies. Yeah, so thanks for watching, guys.